while 44% said that they will never be able to do so. If you want to have kids, they will probably set you back by an average of 15 years. Okay, so welcome back to another episode of the Backholder Pod. Today, let's discuss two articles specifically. I think the first one, it's from the Straits Times, where the headline states that close to half of Singapore residents say that they will never achieve financial freedom. So some of the big ticket, I guess, discussion is really the idea where out of 3,000 people polled, 29% actually said that they will be able to achieve financial freedom. 27% said that they have already attained it, while 44% said that they will never be able to do so. I think they cited a few things such as cost of living, inflation, job insecurity, etc. But I think there is a second part of this entire discussion, which is the idea of having kids. So I believe for those of you who have been based in Singapore, you know that it's a very tricky situation where they're trying to raise birth rates. Yet at the same time, I think youngsters nowadays have a lot of things that they have to grapple with. So I think based on the respondents, they said that if you want to have kids, they will probably set you back by an average of 15 years to achieve your financial goal. And on the second, half of them actually believe that you need more than 500,000 in order to raise a kid until the age of 21 in Singapore. So that's the first article, really about this idea of financial freedom, kids, and how it goes into the entire equation. So a second article, which we actually briefly discussed on our Chinese podcast, and for those of you who don't know, we'll leave the link in the description below. But long story short, it's the idea where a Malaysian man, 25 years old, he actually attained, I guess, SPM, which is the O-level equivalent of 5 A's, but he works as a cleaner in Singapore for $2,400 a month to save for his wedding. I think it started back in 2021, and he has been doing it for the last 2 to 3 years. So a lot of you have been saying, or at least some concerns that we have discussed in the previous pod, in the Chinese episode, was that most of them probably would think of trying to further their studies first, get a university degree, and then work from there. But I think specific to this guy's concern is that he needed immediate cash for his wedding, and also he has a kid that is based in Malaysia. So I think from here on, let's expand the discussion further. And maybe Bunti, you have any comments on this whole financial freedom, kids, and what's this, how youngsters are looking at it now?
Yeah, just reading the statistics that you mentioned, right? I think when it comes to financial freedom and comes to this kind of post, right? I think it really depends on how those terms are defined, because everyone define financial freedom, financial independence differently, and then people also have different level of comfort level. Like they say, oh, they need, let's say, some people say 1 million is enough. Some people will say, oh, I need 5-10 millions to be enough. So I think those are the lines that everyone have different lines. So people answer differently just based on what they think of or how they define the terms. But when just looking at those numbers, I think it's about right, because I don't think that majority of people is like, oh, I can earn so much that even just spend 1/3 of my income, I still can live comfortably. I don't think that that's the case, because we all like to spend. We all want to upgrade our lifestyle. So I think on average, I would say most people probably can only save between, let's say, 15 to 30%. I think those are the majority. So if you have that kind of level of saving, right, I don't think the financial freedom is something that you can see, like it will come soon, that kind of situations. I think it will come, let's say, for someone who can work until, let's say, 50 years old, you can still project a path to that financial independence. But I would say for majority of people, it's still quite challenging because of all these issues like inflation that you just mentioned.
I think to maybe provide more color to Bunti's question, so 4 in 5 actually polled to aim to retire by 65, and they do give a number where most actually believe they need around 2,008 per month to live comfortably in their retirement lifestyle. So on the definition of financial freedom, I agree that it's a bit not as tight, the definition, but 21% say they want to lead a desired lifestyle without worry, which is very fluffy because you don't really know what does it mean for a desired lifestyle. But I guess you want to pack that to a number. I guess 2008 is a good starting point for a comfortable retirement lifestyle. So I think before that, I think maybe we pivot over to Eric. What's your thoughts of since Bunti talked about financial freedom, right? Eric, what's your thoughts on the kids portion? 500,000, is that a good estimate? Do you think will set you back by 15 years? And so on and so forth.
I'm not sure. Can I just clarify something? They say they need more than 500,000 to raise a child here until age of 21, right? Does that mean that if you have 2 kids, it will be more than 1 million. Like per
I
kid is 500.
I think you can go down that line of logic, but there are a few, I mean, repeated expenses, right? Like toys, the cradle, whatever. So I presume you can roughly estimate to be around there, lah.
Okay, so in terms of these numbers, right, 500K, my wife was just telling me for the expenditure for our son. So she extrapolated, right? She said that, oh, by the time he's financially can provide for himself, we probably about spend about 250,000, like 250. So we are a bit different from this number, 500,000, which I think is quite a lot. If you say divide by 21, right? 1 year is how much? Math, not mathing. But I think it's a lot, right?
25
25,000
per year.
per year, which means that per month is like more than 2,000. So I don't know. Is it like, do
Also,
we really spend more than 2,000 on the
also
child?
depends on what you include. For example, if you include tertiary educations in overseas, right, then that's like what one big ticket spending already.
Okay, but for guys, until the age of 21, I don't think will include the overseas. Maybe it's just until after NS finish. So we are about 20, 21, thereabouts. So I don't think they included the overseas one. So I was just thinking 500K is a bit over for most people. I think a more reasonable estimate like 250 lah. Like that's even including like all the medical expenses that my son has. So I think it's quite common lah. Nowadays the kids, they have a lot of eczema and all these very common problems. So I think 250, and they say that delay 15 years, I don't think is so many lah. I think even without kids, most people will retire about 50 plus, 50 plus or 60. Yeah, that's the age that I see, despite them having like 2 or 3 kids. So I don't know. Like I feel that people are a little bit pessimistic in, because I think it's the recency effect, right? The inflation is very high. So they were thinking like, oh, if this carries on, if that carries on, then raising a child is very, very bad economics. But this is, I don't think this is will be the norm for the next 20, 30 years, because market always move in cycles. So if you take this poll, maybe 5 years later, you get a slightly different result. Yeah.
But the increasing trend or the major trend here is that the birth rate keeps going 45 degrees down to the right. I think
Mm.
that's the trend over the last 20 years that's worrying.
I think the point of view that young people increasingly nowadays they are taking is that they increasingly equate childbearing with lack of freedom, and they tend to pivot towards looking at it from a financial, purely from a financial point of view. So they try to rationalize it, but you cannot, when you, if you're a parent, you know that having kids is not a calculated financial decision. If it was, right, most of us were like no, zero, or at most 1 kid. Why would anyone like Kelvin, like, wow, cannot sleep and all this? If you tell him beforehand, okay, you have this lifestyle for like the next 10 years, do you think he will still carry on? Would you?
Okay, so there's two ways to look at it lah. So I think just now Chiking say that he can't understand why people want to have kids when it can delay their financial freedom, right?
There's a okay, never mind. You go first. There's a okay.
So the way the way I look at this is, so Chris from Provident, he mentioned something about ikigai lah. I don't know how to explain ikigai. basically, I look at this from either when people have a certain goal, they look at this either from a life goal perspective or a financial goal perspective. So for example, they say I want to earn this much, it's a financial goal perspective. Then they say I want to afford a condo, it's also a financial goal perspective because you need money to buy a condo. Same for cars, same for travel, this kind of thing. Then the other way to look at this is life goal perspective. So you say I want to have a kid because it would give me additional experience that money can't buy lah. So same for like travel overseas. These are your life goals. Same like every morning I want to drink coffee, because not everyone can drink coffee in every morning. maybe you got into a car crash, you don't have hands to drink coffee already. But that's not the point. The point is like life goal and financial goal can be different thing. And so for some people they prioritize financial goal, which right now I think I'm also a bit at this stage. So they say, oh, I need to earn this much to be happy. So that's the financial goal. But the issue with that is you might not even reach your financial goal. So some people say, I want to retire by 65 when I earn this much. But there's no guarantee that you will live till 65. Maybe by tomorrow you boom, then die. But life goal is way easier to achieve. So like you want to have kids, you next year you got kids already. You want to travel, you buy plane ticket, boom, you got your life goal achieved already. So same for drinking coffee. This kind of life goal, what has a more longer lasting effect than financial goal, because once you spend your money, your financial goal is gone. So for Chris, his ikigai, he says that it's okay to delay your financial goal in order to achieve your life goal first, because life goal is more important than financial goal. So that's why I always tell people don't buy condo, because you buy a condo, you buy a HDB, you always have a house to live in. Then people say, oh, like maybe Eric say, oh, because condo is safer place to live in. You are not living in Malaysia where the robber can go and break your house, go and steal stuff, right? So for Singapore, as long as you close the door, already you are fine already. so a condo for me is not a valid financial goal, but for some people that feel that it is lah. So but then you have to worry about the burden that comes together with before you can even achieve this financial goal lah, because you need to earn this much, then after that you need to continue working to supply money to fund the condo. So back to cheating. So I think the kids thing is a huge sum. This 500k, but it's not something. It's a slow thing that comes to you. And for kids, I would argue it's a very different experience from living in the condo lah, because maybe you can touch the condo, maybe you can see the light. It's a different light. You can go and smell the swimming pool a bit. Maybe you can smell some urine. Then, but for kids, right? Kids every day is a different kid. So yeah, your 1-year-old kid, your 2-year-old kid, every day is a different kid, all the way until 20 plus, until your kids moves out of your house. So that's a very different experience. You every day you are interacting with a different person in a way. Yeah, I hope that answers.
So just to add on to what Kelvin said, right? Having a kid is more like going for an experience. You cannot quantify it using financial rationalization. Right? Yeah. So if you listen to what Kelvin was saying, right, the kid is a different kid every stage. He never say that a kid is a different budget every stage. Is the point of view is very different. He don't look at the kid as an expense, as an expenditure, as a burden. It's more like someone extra that you have to love, to do life. Yeah, I think that's a very different point of view lah. And of course, I do know that I'm privileged to be able to say this, that a kid is like a joy to my life. But I do know of people that they bring kids into this world. Actually their life really got a lot harder because the kid has some special need. So we are very blessed lah to have kids that they don't have like those special needs. So maybe we could never understand like how those parents actually feel. But yeah lor, I think if imagine if you view them as from a point of view like a financial burden, right? And then they come in with special needs. Wow, GG, right? You are already like I don't really want you. Now that you're here, like, wow, if someone need all these things, wow, life will be quite hard to bear, I feel. Yeah. So I don't know, like the advice that you will give to a parent, like, is a box of chocolates. So you never know what you're gonna get. Yeah. That's the
Actually, the don't want you part, I don't think is true. Maybe some people don't want lah, but those are the spray and pray kind of parents really. Like they will straight away torture their kids to die, right? But for the majority, I would say even if the kids is disabled or special needs, from what I see, they do like their kids lah. Yeah lor. So the same thing applies. The same love applies. Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that they don't love their kids, but like for those, for example, they have autistic or some kind of medical issues, right? Makes them a bit hard to care for them.
Hard to deal with, right?
Hard to deal with, hard to care, and then it puts a strain on the relationship. Like money wise, and then the time a caretaker is very, very difficult because you always need someone to care for this child like 24/7. Like one person literally have to give up their career.
Yeah, so that comes with the kid lah. So it's the same thing lah. Same thing with whatever you do in life lah.
That's why it's a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Chicken, I hope I didn't make things worse for you.
I'll make 2 points lah, very simply, and then I'll talk more about the caveat just now I mentioned. I think firstly, actually Eric did cover a lot of ground of what I'm basically gonna cover. We have to acknowledge that it's really a very, very, very big privilege to love and to add value and to have fun, because you use the word joy, right? This is a big privilege because I don't exactly agree that every single parent has been able to love and have joy, because there are a lot of different circumstances that will lead to that ultimate outcome, from whether it's a broken families, partners, and whatever. So that's one part. And on the second part, right, when Kelvin talks about decisions and experiences in life, right, just note there's a footnote there, which is it's an irreversible decision. You want to travel, you go to Japan, you're not happy, you can fly back. You want to drink coffee, you're not happy, you can puke it out. Having a kid, you're not happy, you cannot push it back in. I think that's something that is a big, big like disclaimer at the end of the thing. And then after they come out already, how they result in life, what kind of person they are, right? It's all go back to the parents. Whether it's the mom, the dad, don't know how to teach, what kind of values you inculcate. I really don't know. I think this panel is good because they have had good experiences of upbringing, and also maybe in their process of raising a kid is good. But I think you can't really say that it's true for a lot of people outside as well. So I think that's the two things that I want to differentiate here. So yeah, that's my 2 points. Moving back to the discussion of the caveat of what we were talking about, right? Because this was an extension from the Chinese episode. So the context of that Chinese episode was that this guy, this 25-year-old guy, he came to Singapore in 21. So that's probably when he was 22. So he did 5A equivalent in his O levels. He didn't pursue a degree, and he needed to come over to Singapore to work because he's able to get like double or triple the salary in Singapore versus Malaysia, which is around 8,000 ringgit, 2,004 Sing. And then the focus is because, hey, you already have a kid, you need money to support the kid. I don't want you to be at home. Like, I mean, the context they were given was that, let's say the wife will say that I don't want you to be at home. I'm already busy fighting for my survival. So please go and earn more money and don't come over. And when Bunti was sharing that he knows a few friends in Malaysia where the dad or whoever goes out to Singapore, works for like 20, 30 years, from 25 to like 55, and then comes back and retire. Because of that distance, they don't spend much time with their kids, with their wife. And I'm just trying to emphasize or make this factor more pronounced in a way where you're sacrificing a lot of things for something that I guess is intangible. And at the end of the day, there's even no guarantee that your kid will be filial to you or be happy. Like, your kid might not even be joyous. You say you have joy with your kid, you also need to ask whether the kid is joyous when he's with you. I think that's one point. Second point is the sacrificial thing, the idea that you need to move over Yixiang Beijing, which is to go over to another country, and then you don't spend time with your wife, you don't spend time with your parents, and then because you want to support the kid. So my ultimate argument is at the bottom line here of the discussion is that if you already know that this might not be the life that you are seeking for, to sacrifice time with your parents, they spend so much time to raise you up, and then you are going to go away, and then to spend time, you're going back to the cycle again. And if you have the decision, why do you want to push this financial burden on yourself that you know that you cannot handle already, and then the sacrifice you have to make to carry on that life? So then that was that discussion. Then Kelvin came back with, the experiences and whatnot. But I don't know whether you want to continue the discussion because it's 9:30 already. But yeah, I this is generally my case.
I'll just say, so for taking his just now mentioned about coming back to the cycle, right, of giving birth to the kid and not spending time with the kid. But for Malaysians, I would say this cycle is sort of upgraded in a way. So you're born in Malaysia, you're less rich than Singaporeans. So you come to Singapore to work, you straight away upgrade your life cycle. So you break the poverty that you inherit from Malaysia. I don't know. So basically, you got that. You're poor, your family is poor. You come to Singapore, you earn Sing dollars. your from now on, your next generation will be rich. As long as you don't go and buy stupid stuff lah. Like I don't want to say condo, like expensive stuff. So and your money is gone. As long as you can keep the money, your next generation from now on, you'll benefit from what you did in this generation lah. So I think even for Bundi, it should be the same kind of thinking like that. Whatever he does will be passed down to his next kin. Yeah.
I think my idea or the difference here in how the different generations think is really that the importance of childbearing, passing on to next generation, right? It's not necessarily a priority. I do agree that like it's a different experience, it's a privilege to love, enjoy, and whatnot. But this life equation, right, is not so much just I want experiences. I'm here to maximize experiences. That is slightly, I guess, flawed in a way because, like Eric said, right, there are other forms of calculations that you need to make, which is time freedom, financial freedom, the ability to even to respect your parents or to spend time with your parents. Those are also calculations that needs to go into play, and it's not as straightforward as childbearing should be prioritized and everything else can take a back seat, lah. So that's just a difference in how we look at it, lor. Actually, the financial aspect is just one, like he said. But I think going back to why this was such a heated discussion was that he is sacrificing. He's basically sacrificing his whole life. Like today is the same as I know you're very poor, and I tell you that I'm gonna take your life, but I'm gonna give your family $5 million, for example. Is it a worthy exchange? I don't know. Maybe it's a bit extreme, but feel free to leave in the comment section down below, and we will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.